guys and gals. All right. So this is kind of spontaneous. It dawned on me last night that okay, before I get any deeper, hello, my name is Heather Pratt. I'm director of the Greatest Dreamers. This is our Tuesday Talk Zoom call. I am recording this and I will post it on the Tuesday Talk playlist on my YouTube channel. This is something I've been doing Tuesday trainings every evening for a few months now. But it dawned on me last night to get back to where I was because I'm totally flaky right now, y'all. That I have a church obligation tonight, and it's probably going to roll over into our normal 7:30 Central Time Tuesday talk. Totally didn't think about it when I agreed to do this, and that was an oops on my part. But honestly, I probably would have played it the same direction. I just would have prepared y'all for a recording instead of a live 7:30 training. Um, our regular hosting pastor is out of town on vacation this week, and I kind of fill in while she's out. So I'm getting to go in and do some fun hospitality stuff for this event. It's the first event of this kind in our new building, even though we've been in the building almost a year now. So I'm kind of excited about it. Also, not feeling super spectacular today. So, also kind of not looking forward to it, just to be real. But y'all know I like to keep it real. But I did attend the Tuesday training this morning. The April monthly learning plan has been on re-engage. We've talked about social media. We talked about, what did we talk about last week? Doing follow-up. Follow-up's my jam. I didn't watch last week. Follow-up's just my thing, so I didn't watch that one. But today's training was on follow-up recruiting conversations. Stephanie Breimer, who's a star director from Kansas City. Some of you may be in her, Taxes and Cents group on Facebook. There is a tax group for Cincy consultants on Facebook, and Stephanie runs it because she used to work for the IRS as of like a couple of months ago. She's a relatively newly promoted star director, and she actually stepped up to the plate when somebody else couldn't make it today. So this is a little short notice for her. But and I honestly, I don't have a ton of notes. It was such a good thing. It's such a good training, but it's one of those you almost need to listen to it yourself because she told a lot of personal stories. And from my experience, hearing a personal story from the person who experienced it is way better than hearing the replay. I do a lot of replay for these. I have been so far. I'm going to work the summer on some different kind of content as we're evolving this little Tuesday talk. But I did take a few notes, and then I thought I would touch on maybe some of her stories, or maybe I'm going to share a little bit of my own. I do have some actual dollars and cents to talk about that Stephanie shared with us. So I'm going to start out by saying a couple of things. Number one, anytime we talk about income in this business, we need to be using the income disclosure statement. Whether that is just an image of it, or it's a bit.ly, or it's a link, or whatever, the Federal Trade Commission requires us to kind of make the announcement of, results not typical whenever we're making income statements. And income is not necessarily just your paycheck. That also means if you're talking about any incentives that you've earned or any of that. So just make sure if you're talking about any earnings, or I think even what you get from Cincy from those earnings, you should include that income disclosure statement. In addition, if there are any of you who are wondering, why recruit? What's the purpose? Why do I want to do that? I can make a pretty good amount of money by just selling. And you're right, you can make upwards of 30% just by selling Cincy. But you also have to sell $2,000 worth of product every month to make 30% on those sales. And for some people, that's easier than others. It's definitely not the typical, but I think Sorry, I had a smoothie for lunch, and there's our blender isn't the greatest, and I just picked up some of that powder on the sides of my tongue, and it's tickling. Okay, that's way more information than y'all wanted. But with recruiting and team building, yes, there are more things that go into it. Yes, to some degree, you become responsible for somebody else, but not fully. We'll get to that in just a second. But you have the possibility to make like 36% versus just the 25% from typical commissions from leadership bonuses. And I'm going to do a little bit of math from my recent paychecks as well, just to share it with you when we get to that point, what percentage I'm making off of leadership bonuses. So yeah, and it's, I know a lot of people look at the compensation plan and they're like, wow, that's so confusing. That's so hard. I don't want to figure all of that out. Here's the thing. You don't have to figure all of this out. Number one, your sponsor or your director should help you figure that out. Number two, the only thing you have to figure out is the level above where you are right now. So if you're an essential consultant, all you have to figure out is what it takes to be a certified consultant. And that has nothing to do with team building. If you're a certified consultant, all you got to look at is lead consultant and what it's going to take to get to lead consultant, and you work on that until you get there. Once you get to lead consultant, then you can start looking at star consultant. Don't stress yourself out about the entire grid. You don't even have to stress yourself out about this part down here, the percentages and all of that. Just know that it's there and know that every step you take, the more money you're going to make. Okay? All right. So, not only does building a team increase your paycheck, but honestly, building a team is just, it's hard to describe. If you're a mom, you probably, or a dad, if you're a parent, you kind of get it. You bring somebody into the world and you get to watch them grow and develop and change, and you're so proud of their achievements, whether it's, learning to walk and talk or going off to college, right? Being a Cincy sponsor is kind of the same thing. And what's really cool as a director, it's not just the people that I've personally brought into the business, but I'm watching the people I brought into the business bring other people into the business, and watching those people to bring people into the business. And then watching this whole, several of these people achieve things and things that they didn't think was possible. They come in thinking, oh, I'm going to get a discount on my product. And the next thing you know, they're making their car payment or they're making their mortgage with Cincy money. And that's just so, for me, it's really the greatest thing. I'd like my own promotions, but watching other people achieve things it really just makes my heart happy. And it's just a beautiful experience to get to do. Because we all know Cincy has a lot of opportunity and lots of options. So when it comes to recruiting conversations, number one, I don't like the word recruiting. I prefer team building, but I will say recruiting because it's only one word and it goes a little bit faster. I also think sometimes team building is really, you can go either way, but team building is kind of my mindset, because I don't just want to recruit you and get you on the team. I want to build you up and make you good at doing this, or help you to be good at this. That's the other thing. You don't have to make anybody do anything. You're not capable of making anybody do anything. I am not capable of making you do anything. As a sponsor, you are literally there as a cheerleader and a place to get information. Even at the director level, there are 4 things that a director and above is required to provide per Cincy standards. And it's things like communication, training, which it's access to training. It doesn't have to be you doing training. It can literally be, say, hey, go watch this YouTube channel, or hey, did you see the Tuesday training? Go check it out. A place for community, and I don't remember the 4th thing. I would have to look it up in the standards, but it's all that kind of same kind of thing. You're literally, it doesn't mean you have to send postcards. It does not mean you have to send happy mail. It does not mean you have to provide any sort of, maybe you have to do recognition. Maybe that's the fourth thing. But it doesn't have to be paid recognition. It can be literally a text message, congratulations on, or I'm so happy you, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to cost money to be a leader and to be a sponsor. You're really there as a source of information. Not that you're the be all end all source of information, because there's a plethora of places to get that information, and you're a cheerleader. And I think honestly, cheerleader is the biggest thing, because you can give all the information in the world, and until somebody is ready to take that information and do something with it, which you can't make them do, it doesn't really change anything. So cheerleader is really the number one thing on being a sponsor. I don't have anything more to say on that. It's just being the cheerleader. So number one, two things you got to have as far as having those conversations. Number one, no fear. When it comes to asking people to join your team, asking people if they're interested in the business opportunity, there's no fear. There's no reason to be afraid of talking to people about Cincy from the business perspective. As Stephanie said, no answer is bad. Even if the answer feels bad, I don't like Cincy, I don't want anything to do with Cincy, go away, I don't even like you because you asked me. I mean, that's hurtful and rude, and I pray that nobody ever says that to you. I've never had anybody say that to me. But even if that's the answer, you've still gotten information. You know that they're not somebody you need in your life because they full of negativity. I mean, come on now. That was not necessary. But even if somebody says no, maybe it's a not right now, or whatever the case may be, no answer is bad. You gather information regardless of what their answer is, that you can use or not use going forward. And then the other thing is get your ask in gear. You're not going to get anywhere building a team if you're afraid or if you don't ask. Ask, ask, ask. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to ask and times that you can ask. But I also want to throw a couple of other things at you. A key part of having recruiting conversations, whether it's the first time approach or it's the follow-up, because here's the thing. We know we got to follow up with our customers to remind them that they need more Cincy, or to ask them if they need more Cincy. We know we got to do that. That's part of our job as a customer sales rep, basically, a retail sales rep, whatever you want to call it. That's part of being a Cincy consultant, is asking people how they like the product, did they get it, how they like it, and do they need more. We know we have to do that. Well, the kicker is you also have to do that with people who are potential team members. Even though you've asked them once, it should not be a one and done, unless they're that really rude person that's like, I don't like it, I don't want it, and you're not my friend anymore. If you have people like that, obviously you don't want to follow up with them again because they're not interested, and that's okay. Most people I've ever asked that told me no, it's like, no, I don't think I'm really interested right now, or no thanks. That doesn't necessarily slam the door in your face. That can still be a no, not right now. You can still touch base with them later and say, I know you said you didn't want to do this, but man, we got this great joint opportunity, or I have this kit, or whatever the case may be. Get your ask in gear. So part of also asking the first time is asking a follow-up question. If the answer is no, don't be afraid to ask them why. Say, I totally get where you're coming from, but can I ask, what's your biggest holdup? And even when you get the holdup, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to refute it on the spot. If their answer was no, respect the no. And maybe in 2 or 3 months, come back, say, I know you said no 2 or 3 months, and you said it's because the timing wasn't right, or you didn't have the money, or whatever. You can follow up with that immediately, or if you feel like it's a pretty hard no for right now, and the answer is like, I don't have the money right now, work yourself into planning to ask them later when you have a host to join kit, okay? Or, if it's, man, I'm just going crazy, I've got so much work to do, the kids are in school, whatever the reason is, just make note of it, move on, and that's your opportunity, for follow-up later. All right. But the important part is it's to build relationships. We're always building relationships. This is a relationship business. Whether you're building relationships with your customers or you're building relationships with potential team members. And building a relationship isn't always about the ask about your business. It's also being friendly. It's building a relationship. It's about more than just your business. It's just a, hey, how are you doing message. It's a, I saw that Johnny had a home run at the game the other night. That must have been super exciting. Oh my gosh, did you get a new car? That's so cool. How did you decide which car to get? It's having those other conversations, or it's commenting on things they're putting on Facebook, so that it's not one of those things where every time you talk to them, it's only about the business. I sent a message to somebody today. She's looking for teacher gifts for about 60 people. I sent a message, hey, I could get you 60 cent circles for about $150. I don't know if this is a PTO PTA thing or if it's personal funds or what you're doing, but I wanted to offer, we could do Johnny Appleseed as kind of a play on Apple for the teacher, or we could give them some Now and Zen because they need to chill out after this crazy year. Just let me know. And then she came back and told me some more information, and I replied, I know her daughter's name. Oh, what school are y'all at now? They used to be the same school my kids were at, and I know her son is in the same middle school as my son. Her daughter, who also happens to be named Riley, is not at Lowell. I'm like, but the other information she gave it to me, I was able to deduce where I figured they were. It's like, oh, are y'all at such and such? Yeah. So it was a good back and forth. Also happens to be someone I served on PTA with once upon a time. So building those relationships. So it's not always just about the ask, right? It's getting to know them on a personal level. It also gives them an opportunity to get to know you on a personal level. They get to see, hopefully, they're seeing Cincy in your life. They're seeing you. Maybe they're following you on your VIP page or on your business page, or seeing stuff on your timeline periodically about things that Cincy is affording you to do or giving you opportunity to do, or just your love of the product and the love of the business. Maybe it's just getting to know you personally better because maybe you're asking somebody you've never met in person and they don't want to say yes because they don't know you and they don't know if you're going to help them be successful in this business, or they don't know if your personalities would mesh well. So this is an opportunity to build on that relationship. All right. So another tip when it comes down to, and this is where we get into the conversations that are good to have when you are asking people. What did Stephanie say? Stephanie said, throw the math at them. And I love that. Some of you are more mathers than I am, but that's a thing to do. Throw some math at them. If they send you a decent sized order, somebody sends you $100 order, say, well, there's two ways to pay for this. You can either pay full price, or, you can join, place that $100 yourself, and then you're going to get, what is it, $20 back to begin with. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Sorry, told you, brain is mush. If it's bigger than that, throw some math at them. Hey, you're spending $30 a month with me. Why don't you just join and get, those kind of math conversations are fantastic. They're really good. They're best when people are placing large orders, like $150, $150 order or more. Hey, did you know that $200 order, you could have made $50 back or $40 back, and, you would be current as a consultant for 12 months. Throw the math at them. I personally think let me back that up. I don't know that there's as much of a bang for their buck when it's just an order. Now, if you're looking at somebody's history and they've ordered $400 worth of product over the course of 3 to 6 months, that's a good opportunity to throw some math at them. If they are hosting for you or they're bringing orders for you, I've actually got a customer who has given me 3 orders, hers and 2 other people. It's a little over $100, and I'm probably going to throw some math at it. It's like, okay, just throwing this idea out there. I have a $59 join kit available because I actually have 2 right now. You could join under that and then turn around and place this order yourself, and you're going to get commission back on it. And I'm going to tell her how much it would be. If she says, no, I'm good, fine, no problem. We move on. I place the order. I get the PRV. I get the commission. But at least I've thrown the idea out there at her. And I think as a host, if you've got a host with a $200 party, using that host exclusive kit, hey, there's different ways you can play this and line them out. I've seen several directors lately who said, you know, when I'm getting ready to close out a party, this is the email that I send to the host, and I tell them, all right, I've settled up, you know, we're getting ready to close your party. Here are your options. And one option is just their host rewards. Another option is you join and the host rewards that they get in addition to that. Or, you know, I don't know how familiar y'all are with the host exclusive kit, but they can use their host credit and you tell them how much it would be. So if it's a $200 party, you say, okay, so you could join for $39. You could still use your host, your half off reward, and you could order the things off your wish list, which would actually take you this higher, and just kind of tell them the 2 or 3 different options, a couple of different options. If you want help, if you're at that point and you need help with the math side of it, don't hesitate to reach out to me or your sponsor, if I'm not your sponsor. Because sometimes that really gets people. It's like, oh, I could join for $39 and I'm going to get 40 back. Really? Yeah. And it's a little bit more than 39 because they have to pay the tax and shipping on that, that starter kit. But it's still, that's a pretty sweet deal. I'm going to join. I'm immediately going to have a party. As the consultant, you can even immediately flip it to them. You can just click that little toggle button, flips that PRV straight to them. They're immediately active. I mean, it's a pretty sweet deal. And that's just a really cool way to put it to them. It's like, well, you've got this much in free product, you know, you've got $20 in free product and a half price item, or you could join for $39, get the half price item, and get this much back on your party. You get $40 come the 10th of next month. Okay. I'm a little disjointed on that. So if that's not making sense, please reach out and ask. I'll be happy to explain that better. But that's another chance to throw the math at them. Another thing, kit list. If you are like me and you collect a lot of random orders throughout the month and you place a couple of 2, 3, 4 parties a month that are just random orders, you can offer that kit to people. You don't have to wait to have a host. You don't have to flip the PRV. I have potentially 2 available this month. It depends on this person I'm going to offer it to. She might take one of the other ones, or she might not. But say I have I'm going to just go 200 because it's easy. Say I've got a $200 worth of random orders that have come in. I'm placing the order. I have a list of people who are my potentials. And everybody should have a potentials dream team list. These are either people you've talked to in the past about joining, past hosts that have expressed interest but weren't ready, friends, family, loved ones, whatever that you think would be amazing in this business because of their personality. Friends, family, loved ones that you think this could be a great blessing to because they could use the extra cash. Friends, family, loved ones that you would just really like to work with, or anybody on your customer list who's like a really good regular customer. Those are all opportunities. Those are all potentials. And when you've got this potentials list, when you have this $200 worth of random orders, you can start messaging people on that list and say, hey, I have a host exclusive kit available. It's $59. If you want to give up the host rewards and give it to them, you can do that. That would make the kit $39, but you don't have to do that. You can make them pay full price for that kit, and still join. And that's a little more complicated to explain, so I won't go into it. But if you're wanting to do that more and want some deeper explanation, again, reach out to your sponsor or to myself and we'll explain that. But reach out to that person, say, hey, I've got a $59 join kit. I think you would be really good at this. I just, whatever the reason why they're on your list, reach out to them and offer. And make sure it's a limited offer so you're not waiting for days and days and days. But, I have to close this tonight. Do you want it? If they say yes, great, move forward. If they don't, move on to the next person. And so on and so on. So you always want to have that potentials list. It's also a list that you use if for some reason we were to have join special. I'm not aware of any join specials coming up. We've had such hyper growth recently. I don't know that that's on the table for this year. I don't know that it's not. I just don't know that it is. But you kind of can create your own join specials every time you have a party qualified order to put in. So have that kit list and use it. And back to back to the conversation about, you don't have to be the be all end all when you sponsor. You have a ton of support when it comes to sponsoring new team members. I have an onboarding process. I totally fell through the cracks on one of them, and I need to send some major apologies out to that person, and I will do that. But you're not out here flying by your own. You're not alone in any way, shape, or form. Your sponsor will help. I mean, depending on where you are in the organization, you may have 2, 3, 4 layers between them and the top of people willing to help. Excuse me. So don't be thinking you're in this alone. If you don't know what you're doing, if it's the first time you've ever sponsored, there's actually a new sponsor checklist that you can follow, and you can print that sucker out and you can use it for every person. Cincy gives great support to new consultants now. This totally didn't exist when I joined, but they actually have a drip campaign where they reach out, consultants get all these emails. They've got this checklist of the first things they need to do for their business. So there's a lot of support just from the home office. You're going to be there to cheerlead for them. They're going to have other people in their upline cheerleading for them, reaching out, offering to help. You're not in this alone by any way, shape, or form. So do not be afraid of sponsoring. So that's kind of all the notes that I had. Like I said, she has some really, really cool personal stories that I would recommend you go listen to. One was about, I'll share this one because it's the one that stuck out the most in my mind, and probably because I'd heard it before. But she had, her brother-in-law was on her team, and he promoted to lead relatively quickly, but then kind of fell out and ended up quitting. There was somebody that was on there. He had a team, obviously, and all of those people ended up quitting as well. But one of the girls, Stephanie, had built a friendship with, stayed in touch with her, and she'd have a big order, she'd join, she'd place the big order, and then she'd quit again. And she got a big order, and she'd join, she'd place the order, and then she'd quit again. But because they had built this friendship, this relationship beyond Cincy, Stephanie knew that she loved Nightmare Before Christmas. So whenever they made the announcement about the NBC stuff coming out in September of, 2019? Is that the first round of NBC? 18 or 19? She reached out to this friend. She's like, oh, I'm joining. I'm done. I'm joining. She rejoined. And she reached out to Stephanie a little bit before the September 1st launch. She says, I've got like 3,600 in sales. And Stephanie was like, what? Yeah, I've got $3,600. So Stephanie's like, okay. So Stephanie's like, so how many of those people have more than $200 in orders? She goes, oh, I've got like 3 or 4. I said, why don't you reach out to those people, offer them the opportunity to join and get commission back on those sales? And if some of those people take you up on it on September 1st, you're going to go from essential to lead. And so she did. I think she got 3. I think she got 2 or 3, maybe all 4 of them joined themselves. So on September 1st, she went from basically a rejoin for the 3rd time to star consultant. And a couple of months later, starting to fall, toward the end of the busy season, she tells Stephanie, yeah, I think I'm going to quit again. And Stephanie's like, why? No, you're not. Why would you quit now? You're a star consultant. You built this team. You've got one of your team members who's building a team who says she wants to be a director. Why would you quit now? And kind of worked through it. The girl did not quit. So she was a star consultant on September 1st. Maybe it was when they launched this past September 1st. But she went from, rejoin for the 3rd time in August to star consultant in September. And in March, she promoted to director. Yeah, you heard that right. August rejoin, star consultant, and Stephanie said star director in March, but I think she meant director. And then Stephanie promoted to star director in that fall because the girl under her also promoted to director. So maybe she did promote to star director in March. It was a huge thing. But if Stephanie hadn't, number one, hadn't built this relationship with the girl who used to be on her team to know to tell her about the NBC stuff, she wouldn't have joined. She wouldn't have promoted. And if Stephanie didn't challenge her a little bit on that desire to quit, she would have quit and wouldn't be where she is now. And neither would Stephanie, for that matter. So that was pretty amazing, right? We all wish we could have a lot of those stories. It's not the norm, which is why we have to do the income disclosure statement. So I did take a couple of screenshots from, oh, that's me. So in August of 2020, these are Stephanie's numbers. In August of 2020, Stephanie was a director with a group of 210 and a team of 84. That's really not necessarily important. She had a first generation director, and that's why she, what's the word I'm looking for? Why the group and team number is different. So she had over 2,000 in sales. If she had no team, if she was a certified consultant with no team members, she would have had a commission, would have had a payday of $601.19. Not a bad payday. You can buy groceries with that. You could make a car payment on that. You can pay some car insurance with that. Not a bad payday. That 2,000 pushed her over to getting that 30% commission. But because she did have a team, she actually got paid $1,590.95. That's a big difference. I mean, that's almost $1,000 difference. That's the car payment and the mortgage, right? So huge difference over having a team and not having a team. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to have a group of 210 people to make a $1,500 paycheck. I know that from experience. I've never had 210 people. I don't think I've had more than 70 people. I don't even think I've had 70. I got really close, but I don't think I ever got to 70. And I had a really close to $1,500 payday. September 2020, this is when Stephanie promoted to star director. She had $2,748, no, 2748.74 PRV. So without a team, just straight commissions, she would have gotten paid $824.62. Again, good paycheck. That's a decent paycheck. You could do a lot with a paycheck like that, right? Well, this month, 1 month later, she had her actual earnings was $3,559.79. At this point, she did have two first-generation directors. Like I said, this is when she promoted to star director, so that was a significant increase in her pay. But, I mean, that is a huge jump from $825 to almost $3,600. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, just some real numbers. And I will tell you, I am not in the 2000 PRV club. I've only done that a couple of times in my business. But I can tell you that I got to do math. Hang on a second. 47% of my payday from April, so this is from our March numbers, 47% of my payday was from leadership bonuses. So almost half of my pay comes from leadership bonuses because I've built a team. And that's fairly normal. Usually 40 to 50% of my pay comes from leadership bonuses. So that's pretty significant in my book. So I am going to leave you guys with a challenge. And I thought this was really funny. We may do this as a team going forward. We may have a recruiting month. I don't know. But I thought this was kind of fun. She said she had I don't know if it's a sponsor or director or someone at some point in time, they had a challenge. There was some challenge within their group. The first person to recruit somebody named Amanda would get, I don't know what the prize was, but the first person to recruit somebody named Amanda got a prize. So Stephanie's doing an online party, and lo and behold, I don't think it's online. Maybe it's an in-person party. I don't know. Lo and behold, she's having a party. There's a person there, and her name was Amanda. And Stephanie's just like, "Hey, would you be interested in joining Cincy?" Probably not the best approach, but the girl was like, "I don't know. What is Cincy?" The girl did end up eventually joining the team. I don't remember all the details. I was a little scattered this morning. So I would watch it, but I thought it was kind of funny. I also thought of the thing, you could even challenge yourself when you see a picture or see somebody wearing a certain color, then that's your challenge. You see somebody wearing purple or green, I mean, that would be kind of a given, that you start a conversation with them. So your call to action for this week is I want you to you get to come up with a name and you get to come up with the color. But I want you to challenge yourself to promise yourself that you're going to have a conversation with a person named blank. You can go with the Amanda. You can go with Sarah. Go with Heather. Don't make it some obscure name. Just don't do that to yourself because that's not fair. But you're not going to walk up and ask that person to join your team, but you're going to have a conversation with the person named blank. You come up with the name. Or you're going to have a conversation with a person wearing, you pick the color. Use your favorite color, use purple, use green, whatever color you want to. I would love to hear what you've challenged yourself to do, whether what name you're looking for and what color you're going to look for. But it's one of those ways to practice getting out of your comfort zone if you're like me and then you're a huge introvert. And these are hard conversations for you to initiate. And maybe you're not great about having, recruiting conversations. You need to practice getting your ask in gear. Great way is to start having conversations. So I hope you will message me and let me know what you're challenging yourself to do. And I'm telling you, you may see this in the future in our group because I really thought it was a cool, fun challenge. But thank you guys for watching the recording. I appreciate you being fun and flexible. And we may do these like this going forward more often. I don't know. I haven't settled on that yet. But thank you for this. I hope it was helpful. Again, I still 100% recognize go when the recording's posted on Thursday. Very much worth going to check out. Stephanie is a hoot. She was fantastic. I really enjoyed her training. I probably would have taken a lot of notes, but I was honestly very distracted and having to do some other things at the same time. I'm just going to leave it at that so we don't get too TMI on that. But go check it out. Challenge yourself to have some conversations. Don't be afraid of sponsoring and team building. I promise it'll be one of the best. It may be a really hard decision and there may be really hard days, but the really good days, 1,000% make up for the hard days. All right. I hope you guys have a good one. I love you and I will talk to you soon. Have a fantastic end of month.